Wake that up.
LA's #1 hip-hop morning show is Nick Cannon Mornings on Power 106.
Nick Cannon Radio, it is time for an up-close and personal conversation. Yes, only conversations with people that I admire, people that are doing big things, people that have a lot to say. And this young lady is all of the above and so much more. A true queen, someone who's paving her own way, doing it by herself, an actress, an artist, a comedian, a model. She's many things. An entrepreneur, has her own businesses, and I would say activist too. I seen her out there on the front lines making it happen before it was popular, before it was fashionable, and she's always been one of the community. And she has a lot to say today. We about to unpack this in a real way. This is gonna be a real conversation with the one and only Jessie Woo.
Hey, it's your sister.
What's going on, Queen? Now, again, congrats on everything. And, we've talked, and I want to make sure we kind of set the table in a real way. But I think we got to get right to it. I'll kind of preface it a little bit, even based off of why I feel like this conversation is so important. So not too long ago, just recently, I actually had the opportunity to check out one of your interviews that was going viral, rightly so, where you guys were having a discussion. It was a group conversation on colorism. And you specifically, well, I believe it was like colorism in corporate America and
being black
in corporate America. And you had the opportunity to speak specifically about colorism and your experience on Wildin' Out. And you were on Wildin' Out as a Wildin' Out girl in season 8. You auditioned prior to that to actually be a cast member because you truly are talented enough to do that. But at the time, you know how casting works, there weren't any slots available in that cast type of what casting is. So you said, fuck it, I'm going to go ahead and be a Wildin' Out girl and still try to hustle my way through the process. And even during that process, you felt like you were, I want to say, discriminated against, and your talents weren't appreciated for what they were. And when I heard this, it kind of hurt my heart because as someone who considers himself a equal opportunity employer and an activist when it comes to human rights, I try to create environments where those type of things don't occur. But regardless of if it's on my watch, I'm aware of it or not, people feel certain ways and things happen. So I immediately reached out to you and was like, yo, I would love not only to talk about this in a private forum, but even on a public forum to, because I'm not a big fan of apologies because I feel like apologies are weightless and worthless most of the time. But I am truly a fan of understanding and offering an opportunity to create dialogue, discourse if need be, to really unpack these conversations because colorism is a real thing. So I would love to hear more and one like let's talk about it, like hold my feet to the fire, like just even based off of this is something that can no longer go on, and it's been said for decades, for centuries, that this is something that's devastating to the black culture and the diaspora of what we have going on in our community.
Yeah, well, first I just want to say, and I said this to you before this, but I want to thank you for reaching out to me because I feel that I've been in this position before where I've spoken out on certain experiences that I've had, and the person on the other end hasn't reached out to say, well, let's have a constructive, conversation. It's been an attack. And you didn't go on the defense. You called and you said, hey, what happened? Wow, this is not my intent. This is not the kind of environment I want to have. How do you see me fixing this? And
that's how I want to fix it. Like, how do we change it? How, like, for the next Jessie Woo, for the next young lady who looks up to you and says, man, she did it on her own. Because I would also, I don't want to cut you off, but I also want to say I love the fact that you took that experience, you took all the experiences throughout entertainment, and you've allowed yourself to keep pushing, to keep fighting, to be resilient, and to create your own. And that is ultimately the message, to say, don't let no corporate infrastructure tell you you can't do something or you can't be something, because you are living proof of that. You can't nothing break a true queen.
No, I appreciate that. And I think I can attest to that. Probably just being, I don't know, maybe it's just the Haitian in me. Like, I just can't accept no.
I heard that.
I don't accept no. I don't accept that I can't make a change. I don't accept that I can't break boundaries. So that's always been my mindset. But I definitely want to thank you for reaching out. I feel like that's what a real Black king does. A real adult does, is take accountability and ask, okay, how can I truly,
how do we fix
make
this?
Changes? Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, shout out to the Grapevine. We had a whole interview where we sat down and we talked about being Black in corporate America, but also we talked about being Black in Black media and some of the things that us as Black women, we do face. You know, my experience at Wild 'N Out, it was 4 years ago. It was spring 2016, and I'll never forget it because when I auditioned, I told jokes and I remember making you laugh. I just remember it so vividly. And I remember thinking to myself, oh my God, like I made him laugh, you know, and that for me was enough because I knew, okay, if I can make Nick Cannon laugh, someone in his position, obviously I got a little bit of potential somewhere.
Absolutely.
You know?
And you definitely had it. And that's even where I wanted to even start to unpack the situation because so many people audition for Wild 'N Out. And we've even shown that we have some viral shows and viral videos that show like the process. It's a gauntlet. It's difficult. They throw you in there with a bunch of comedians. If you get past that, you got to go to the next level comedians. Then you right there in front of DC Young Fly and Carlos Miller. They ask you to rap on site. They ask you to be funny on site. So even just for someone to get to a Wild 'N Out audition, it's a difficult process, and you killed it.
Yeah. So I feel like, you know, and I got through that process, and I did get a call about a week later saying, hey, listen, you know, the comedian spots are filled up, but we do have an opportunity for a Wild 'N Out girl. So if you'd like to be a Wild 'N Out girl, you know, come through. It's lit. I'm like, okay. I mean, you know, modeling and like just being, you know, I don't know. That's just never been my thing. But I just feel like, okay, as long as I get through the door, honey, right, I'm gonna work my way up. You're gonna
make the most out of it. And now, do you feel like you deal with that a lot in casting? Because again, like we can't have the colorism conversation without having the sexism conversation, where someone really says, "Oh yeah, now your talent was cool, you were pretty good, but how would you, because you're so beautiful and because you're pretty, how would you like to do this instead?" Like, I know. If I was in that situation, if that was told to me, I'd be like, that's not really what I signed up for. I want to be, you know, a cast member or something, but I'll take the opportunity, but I would probably feel away as well.
Honestly, I'm not a person who gets told I'm pretty. And I know that's probably...
Stop playing.
No, I'm in those processes, no. Like, I'm someone, you know, before Wild 'N Out, I was trying to sing. I was in Miami pursuing music, and
right, voice is dope, fire, a real voice, a real singer.
Thank you. But, you know, as dope as my voice is, which it is, I am someone who did experience producers telling me, listen, you don't have the look. So stick to just writing or stick
Wait, hold up. Today, in today's day and age, people told you don't have the look?
I mean, this is like a couple years ago.
Wow.
You know, so
I mean, I feel like today, like looks don't really matter in artists today. I mean,
yes, they do still. It's
really?
Like the terms change with the times.
Interesting. I mean, it's funny, and not to cut you off, but like that's why I love and even reached out and early on to like artists like Chica, who just embraced who she was.
I love Chica.
Yeah.
She's a lyricist. She's amazing.
Yeah, singer, songwriter, so many different things. But she was like, look, I'm not going to fit into the status quo of what pretty is or to have the look. I'm going to just be myself. And I feel like even this younger generation, maybe I definitely agree with you. And I don't know who these producers were who told you didn't have the look, but like the older mentality of like, yo, you want to be pretty and sexy in the video when you singing and all of that stuff. They were definitely about, you got to have the look.
you have to have the look. And a lot of times the look is not me. A lot of time the look is lighter, fairer skin. And even if you look at it now, I mean, you don't see a lot of chocolate girls that are at the top of the charts. If you really look at it, there's not that many chocolate dark-skinned girls that are at the top right now.
There was a conversation about this. Actually, Beyonce's dad actually raised this.
I remember that.
Yeah, he raised the conversation. He was like, yo, name me like 5 chocolate women in the last decade that have topped the charts, and people couldn't do it.
And it doesn't happen.
And that's coming from the father of Beyonce.
Right. It doesn't happen. And if it is a chocolate girl, she's gonna be on like the medium brown side. She's not going to be chocolate.
The paper bag test.
No, exactly.
That's what they told me. I was the color of a paper bag when I was a kid.
See, but it's like there's still that notion that, okay, you know, the last big singer I can think of that topped the charts that was strictly R&B to me was Fantasia, and she's chocolate. You know, I haven't seen another chocolate girl. Now, SZA.
I was about to say, SZA, and Lizzo, I mean, is Lizzo considered chocolate?
Well, she is, but Lizzo's doing pop.
Okay, so we're saying R&B right now?
Well, I'm talking about R&B.
Because, I mean, pop is transcending R&B. Like, pop is going beyond.
True.
And I think Lizzo would be like, girl, I know you didn't call me pop. I'm R&B.
I mean, listen, we all know Lizzo has a soulful voice, but even if we say Lizzo, for instance, okay, she's right now, who has topped the charts in the last 2 years? Yeah. Like, she's right now.
But see, like right with now, Summer Walker, and like people are doing it right now.
But even what I'm saying is, even with Summer Walker, for instance, she's a dark girl, but she's not my skin tone. You get what I'm saying? Like there's still variations between it.
Very much so.
You get what I'm saying? Like there's still variations.
And today, does that really matter even within our community, whether someone's brown skin, dark brown, dark brown, almost, you know, super melanated to where it actually does have a pigment of blackness? Like, it doesn't matter how, like, shades of black, of how successful you can be?
I feel like we can act like it doesn't, but it does. It's kind of like, even if we look at Lizzo, for instance, her being a chocolate girl, it took a long time for her to be accepted in the pop era. You know what I mean? In the pop genre. It took a lot of work.
She's broken so many barriers from not fitting into the mold. Yeah, for real.
Exactly. It took a long time versus I feel that when a white girl, for instance, will come out with that same sound, she's gonna take off. You know what I'm saying? There's still a lot of colorism, not only just within the Black community, but also you have to know it's in general.
Of course.
Yeah, it's beyond. And so that will definitely leak into us as the Black community. It's like, okay.
Yeah, it's a structural issue. It's systemic. Right. It's embedded in us. We've been brainwashed with it.
Of course. And then it's like, even if you talk about Sheikah, for instance, okay, Sheikah, she's a lyricist. She's so dope. But is Sheikah getting the recognition that other rap girls that are not lyricists really?
I think she will, though. I think she will.
She will one day.
I think Sheikah's music is dope, and because
we have to be intentional about that.
Yeah,
we have to be intentional about elevating her or elevating girls like Rhapsody, for instance.
Facts. Super
Rhapsody
dope.
is a lyricist, and it's like, why is she not getting the same elevation that other girls that are lighter complexion, like, you know, it's just
even in hip hop. You believe that even in hip hop though?
Yes.
Because Megan Thee Stallion, chocolate.
Megan Thee Stallion, yes, but for every Megan Thee Stallion, how many other lighter girls do you have doing the same thing that are getting a certain elevation at a faster pace?
Yeah, and what I want to do, because again, right now what we're doing, we're setting the table based off of your own personal experience and what you've been going through all your life. And there's a classic book, they almost call it like the Colorism Bible. It's called The Color Complex. It came out in 1992. I read it a while ago. I believe it was like Dr. Dr. Donald Hall, I believe his name, or one of those, like Dr. Ronald Hall. But this book like came out in '92, and it was talking about, it was the first time I had ever heard of the word colorism, and then it actually, they just put a new one out not too long ago. It's like an updated edition that's like talking about social media and all these things, and it acknowledges that these are real issues psychologically that have affected our community, and specifically even our women, in such a way to where they have been the most oppressed. They have been the least loved when it comes to just not only business and corporate America, but even in their personal lives. When they do the statistics and they break it down, they talk about colorism and the group that is the least married, and the group that is often most single and has to so-called settle. It talks about truly dark-skinned women, and to know that you are in that category and have been in that category all your life, like, because it even hurts my heart to when you tell me that when you go to auditions or when producers work with you, they told you that you didn't have the look or that you weren't beautiful. Because one of the things when I first saw you, I was like, yo, Shorty is like striking, like, and it was because of your unique look, as which I would say, and I say that as carefully as possible. But it was, when I cast for Wildin' Out, for the actual cast members and the Wildin' Out girls, I don't know if you noticed, but I aim to find people who are unique looking. Like, I almost don't want somebody who fits the mold. Now, we might get one and then like everybody else follows that suit, or everybody go get the same plastic surgery or something. But it usually starts off like, or even with your talent. Like, I want people to be on the show who normally wouldn't get a shot, or that you wouldn't see on any other channel. And that's my mindset when I go into casting. So when I did first see you, I was like, yo, she's unique. She's different. She got her own swag. She got her own bop. And that's what I gravitated towards.
But you see, you and I didn't have that conversation.
Facts. I'm sorry. I'll be at work. I don't be talking to people. I'll be pointing and
we didn't have
whispering.
That conversation. We didn't have that conversation. So it's like, I would have never known until now that's how you felt. My communication was with someone who works directly with you. Right. And so, that person, that woman who works directly with you, she was friends with someone who was really trying to get me out there. Right. And so that's how I got the audition to begin with. Okay. Now, I don't know, I was told the spots were taken and everything was taken, which is okay. And that I could come in as a Wildin' Out girl. And I took that, like I said, because I wanted to at least get in the room. Right. But once I was in the room, the intent that you just described, that's not what was projected unto me. Are you saying when you did audition for a cast member, or the room as a Wildin' Out girl? Oh, I'm just saying the room, which is, so for me, the room is just the experience. Oh, okay. I'll say, the figurative room. You're saying, like, once you got to the opportunity, and even if I could unpack this, and just for clarity, and it's done this way by design. All decisions on Wildin' Out, and even with Viacom casting, are decisions by committee. And it's not one person that says you do this. It's there's like, as we know, there's that we're both familiar with. There's the casting for MTV and Viacom. There's my own personal casting company that Incredible Entertainment has. There's the Wildin' Out casting team, and then out of all of those, I purposely empower women of color to be in charge of that. One, so I can stay out of it. So even in these conversations, we're like, look, I'll give my opinion. I'll say these are the requirements in which we need. But then there's several executive producers on Wildin' Out, even though I created it. But that's because I like to make decisions by committee. There's several executives at MTV and Viacom, men and women of color. I salute Viacom for always, I've been over there damn near 3 decades, and they've always empowered people of color and of diversity to be decision makers and executives there. So just to lay it out, that's the process, whether you're a cast member, whether
you are a wild and out girl, just because you know me, you still got to go through that process. You still got to meet, and they do some extensive ass background checks. So if you if your OnlyFans, if you sticking stuff inside yourself, like they not letting you get a job on Wild and Out.
Well, we ain't got to worry about that.
If you got criminal records, the background checks at Viacom is gangster. But hey, to each his own. Do whatever you want to do, but just know it's hard to get a job when you out there getting a job.
The only thing I'm sticking up in me is God's word.
I heard that. Hallelujah one time. But let's go back to it. So you said once you got through the process and got into the room, it wasn't a pleasant experience.
No, it was not a pleasant experience. And I think that, what we were talking about on the grapevine is just how sometimes Black gatekeepers as well don't do a good job of being inclusive, being intentional to be inclusive. There were 2 opportunities that came to me to have a speaking role.
Yeah, I want to talk about this. Let's talk. You said that the Tori Brixx the incident. Let's talk about break that down. Shout out to Tori Brixx. Rich the kid, they kids, everybody rich. Love you. We love her. We love her. Salute to the family.
But I remember the second time it happened, it was with her.
Oh, so it happened a time before this.
Right. So it was 2 times when I had an opportunity to speak. Okay. But the first time was like right as I was getting on stage, I was told, "Hey, Jess, you're not gonna speak." And I was like, I didn't even have time to process it. So, you're just gonna just stay in the position where we told you to stay, and that's that. I'm like, okay. So,
and that was told to you by a woman of color or somebody on the crew, and
it was told to me by one of the producers.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, one of the producers. So, but she was the same person that was trying to get me to get a speaking.
She wanted to see you shine, and again,
she wanted to.
And like I said, there's some strong women who work on Wild and Out, and they love their job.
Shout out to her. Shout out to her. Her name is Rachel.
Yeah,
Rachel.
Salute Rachel, a queen. She get out there, and if she be like, "Ooh, I want you to do this, and I'm excited for you," and she all for the culture. So shouts out to her. But continue the story.
Yeah. So then the second time that I had an opportunity to speak, right before again, I was told, "Hey, you're not gonna speak." And so, but this time around, it was a kind of like I caught the between her and someone else. And so I caught the and she comes back and she's like, "You're not gonna speak." And I'm like, so I go to the person that she was talking to, and I'm like, "Hey, Rachel wanted to get me to do this. What's going on?" And I was told, "You're not exotic. You don't look like the other girls." Basically, It was just like an extensive conversation right there on the spot.
Wow, and in the middle of on set, that had to be heavy on you.
Right. But then afterwards, I continued the conversation with the person, and she basically told me, "Listen, like you kind of have to do what these girls are doing. You see how they look. You see their followers on Instagram. You see what they're doing on Instagram." And it's like, and I'm like, first of all, I didn't look like any of them. Right. I was a darker complected girl.
Can I interject just real quick? Because you used the interesting word exotic, which I really wanted to get into, because I heard you say that on the interview on the grapevine. And I mean, if you really think about truly the definition of exotic is someone with the descent from a foreign country or foreign land. You're Haitian. You are the definition.
That's what I said.
Of exotic.
I'm like, hello, I am Haitian.
You are an island girl. Sa passe na boule.
Okay, banan free, Gio. Hello. I literally have, and I had a green card at the time. Like, what is that's not
like,
exotic.
I am exotic. I'll show you my green card. That's hilarious. No, but in all seriousness, though, because and if I could just give an interesting perspective, not to negate anything that you felt, because everything that you felt is merited and warranted in the moment. But one, I just, because I wouldn't agree, I wasn't aware of the conversation. But when I actually embrace the word exotic for its actual nature of what it is, because someone like yourself is exotic. Someone from the motherland, I do any part of Africa exotic. Haiti, Brazil, like as we all know, I'm one of those people that say, like, I am a connoisseur of exoticness. But in saying that, I never thought exotic would be a word that would be used for discrimination. If anything, I thought it was an empowering word on both sides. You know what I mean? Because again, going back to those terms of like, I like uniqueness. But then even before we get to that, because I do feel like there's a whole exotic conversation and what is the definition of exotic and why we believe certain things are exotic, because exotic can easily turn to erotic, and we could talk about the behavior of Americans and Europeans based off of objectifying women who are exotic. I feel like that's a real conversation. But just a little foresight, and if I can remember back to season 8, and like we said, Tori Brixx was popping.
He was.
And that thing, and during casting, and one of the things that we do on Wild 'N Out, and I think maybe one of the statements that may have been made to you at the time, and it was probably just a word of advice, is like, we were casting, part of the casting process is we do look at followers. We do look at people, their notoriety, and a lot of times, if somebody got 3 million followers, 4 million followers, those are going to be the people on the show who get the opportunities or who get the front look, because it's a fair exchange type of situation. Like, they're going to tweet about it. We're going to send their followers, their fans will become fans of the show, and that's how you grow the social. Especially then, like, that's where we were trying to build up Wild 'N Out social. So we were hiring lots of influencers who had big followings to be a part of the show. So I don't know if that conversation may have led to that, but that conversation and you not being exotic enough definitely shouldn't have been in the same conversation. But both of those are true factors that we must deal with. There are people who are more popular than others for whatever reasons. Like, do we say someone like a Tori Brixx is more popular because she has more followers? But we can even talk about people who, like, Bernice Burgos, who was a Wild 'N Out girl, who is dark skinned, beautiful chocolate complexion, has a bunch of followers. You know what I mean? So, and again, there's a lot of amazing women who have come through the Wild 'N Out girl process who have had similar experiences, like you say. And then, even whether it's complexionism, whether it's we have even a big height thing on Wild 'N Out, where a lot of the girls who are shorter in stature are intimidated by some of the girls who are considered model-esque or runway models that, sometimes we have to pair them up differently, because, again, I want to give everybody an opportunity. But a girl who's 5'5" standing next to a girl who's 5'10", aesthetically for camera sometimes, when in those casting types, gets a little interesting. So we have to be very meticulous about the process, but always treat it with respect and dignity. Like, one of the things that I encourage and really live by, I want to create a safe, comfortable environment for everyone to work and everyone to not feel any type of pressure whatsoever, their gender, race, class, creed, and then not force any type of ideologies on anybody. I mean, I'm not anti of all of that stuff. So for someone to say you have to be a certain way to get an opportunity on Wild 'N Out, that should not be the case.
Well, it shouldn't, but it was. And I feel
that's what it was told to you.
Right. This is what was told to me. And I feel that, you can mention all these other girls, but at the end of the day, when you have someone that is on your team, that is making decisions, and that is being intentional about keeping chocolate girls there for the quota, instead of being intentional about making their presence known, that is a problem. And when I made, the comment on the grapevine, I was just speaking about my own experience.
As
I didn't
expect, and everything you feel is valid.
But I didn't expect I got so many messages from girls who have been on the show.
Right.
Who said, listen, I know exactly who you're speaking about. This is what she said to me. This is what was done to me. And I feel that as great as your intentions are, you have to be intentional as well to have the action match the intention. Right. So if you have someone who is literally in charge of the girls, and, you know, they are purposefully making certain comments or purposefully excluding them from even just activities that everybody else is invited to. You know what I mean? Like, there would be times when, you know, I would not be invited to hang out with her and the Wild 'N Out girls. And around that time, you know, it was just tough for me because this is my first time being a part of a television set, being a part of a show like this.
This is when we were shooting in LA?
In LA. And so, you know, I go all the way to LA, and in the midst of all this, I was literally getting my master's degree. So a lot of times when I would be on set, I was on my iPad
doing your schoolwork, getting that degree. And again, schoolwork. Just to interject, when we background checks and we interview these young ladies, people always think like, oh, Wild 'N Out girls, they don't have no education. I would say the majority of the Wild 'N Out girls are educated, have degrees, college graduates. But again, because of the stereotype and the issues of sexism or whatever, people just assume certain things. But go ahead. I just wanted to salute you for that. But continue your experience.
but you know, I just, at the same time, like, I just wanted to feel included, and I just was made to feel very excluded by that person. Even there would be times when, like, all the Wild 'N Out girls were going to go hang out, and it's like, oh yeah, I'll send you the address. And then like, okay, cool. And I'm waiting for the address, and I'm texting, hey, where's the address? And I look on Snapchat, everybody else is together, but me. And it was around that, at the same season, I had another friend. I'm not going to mention her name because if she wants to say anything, it's up to her.
Right.
But she was also a chocolate girl, and she only made one episode. You know, like, literally, and her experience was exactly the same. Right. It was like, it was clear they didn't, it was kind of like just to be able to say, hey, we got a chocolate girl. That's it. I know the same season, Amber Diamond, shout out to Amber Diamond. I'm really
who started off as a Wild 'N Out girl and who is now a cast member. For a few seasons.
You know, but
chocolate. She might, if we playing, she might be more chocolate than you. Jesse, she might be a little more chocolate than you. I'm just saying.
She is chocolate. But even then, it's like, okay, well, even with that, it's like, okay, well, we got her, so
we got our token one. Let's unpack that for a second too, because
that's how it would feel, which is, it's like, okay, well, at the moment, even though exotic was used in the moment where you know,
well, you felt like they was pretty much saying you was a dark-skinned girl, so we need to get us to a light-skinned girl.
Right. But then even when I think about, okay, well, you have this other girl who's always getting the camera, she's doing her thing, but I don't look like her. Even that, I don't look like her. It's kind of like back to what you say with the stature.
Well, you say you don't look. You're referencing Amber Diamond.
Right. It's just
okay,
like,
so you're saying you guys have different looks.
Right.
She's a little taller.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, me and the other girl that were kind of, we had the same stature, we had the same look. It's like we're put over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just, I think just for me, it's like, you have to be intentional with
100%. You are so accurate.
Making sure that everyone is spoken for. And then also just, why is it all about the features or the featurism or a certain look or a certain stature?
Let's talk about that, because I think
it's just,
I think there's two things. One, I would love to break down and just circle back on a few things that you said, just again, so I could speak as candidly and as open as possible, so everybody could see every side of it. And like, it's personally, as an executive, and you and I had this conversation, like, even when we're on set, there's just certain conversations, there's certain areas that I just don't even step into, because I try to maintain professionalism as much as possible. Even if I know someone, or even if I've dated someone, know someone romantically, when I'm at work, it's work. You know what I mean? Because you have to, there's legal parameters, and I encourage that. And there's lawyers who have conversations with all of the girls and the entire cast member of what the do's and don'ts of, what you should do on set, because again, anything can happen. So as someone like myself who's been there, over 16 seasons, I've learned, like, when I was younger, I was all about the partying and turning up and all that. Now I'm like, look, I don't want to know what y'all doing after work. I don't want to, like,
I mean, I can attest to that. I haven't been there in a couple years, but
but
you
again,
would be your little DJ, and then you
be out.
All right, bye.
But only reason, because I know, and I even encourage a lot of the cast members stuff, like, yo, everyone has to be careful, because you have to ultimately be respectful, whether you're on set or whether it's after work, and whatever you guys do, especially if people have come to this show from different walks of life or from their home in different states. We always have to remain professional and on our best behavior. And I feel like that's why we've had the opportunity to affect culture the way we have for so long, in a very unapologetic way, because this is a show that deals with every hard issue in a real way, from racism, sexism. It's one of the last places where, through satire, we can talk about and say anything. You can see a homophobic person battle rap a transgendered MC and get bodied, and then they hug it out at the end. You can see someone from Middle Eastern descent go up against someone who may have grew up in Boston and have no idea, and make stereotypical slurs to each other, but they laugh it out because there's no malice. You can see us. We play a game called Let Me Holla, which, if we got to call it for what it is, like, it's sexism at its finest, where we have a beautiful girl walk out, and everyone from no matter genders, and we've had Wild 'N Out Boys play this game too, so it's equal opportunity. But when you call it what it is, we're throwing catchphrases and lines at each other, laughing, saying, sometimes even vulgar things. So, but it's all said in jest and said in comedy. So to say all of that, you have to be extremely professional outside of those scenarios, because people have feelings, people are catered. So again, innocent scenario.
Do you feel that can you attest that to the fact that outside of filming, that the guys are respectful with the girls?
Oh man, I hope so. Like, again, like I said, we unpacking a lot, and I mean, and this is the other thing, and where I'll go to hopefully defend the culture in this moment. We know hip hop is extremely misogynistic. I've been a part of it in songs whether in my lyrics calling women bitches and hoes and doing this, and I know it's wrong. My mama didn't raise me that way. I don't want my daughter listening to that stuff, but I'm a part of a culture that embraces that. And when that type of behavior goes beyond and you're actually exemplifying that, I can't condone that as a personal individual. And I actually know the line between, oh, it's a joke, or oh, it's a song and we make it entertainment, to where I personally stand firm on, trying to treat everybody with dignity and respect. But do I think that has happened on every occasion? I'm not gonna be ridiculous.
No, absolutely not.
Like I
didn't touch on that, but I can definitely
I mean, like, trust me, we know throughout the years, and there's been many scenarios where people have, come on this show, and all men, women, all that stuff have been disrespected, and we've had to check it, and everything that we can do in our culture to make sure that those things don't happen. And I feel like that's even why we're having this conversation now, because it's a real conversation in a real way, to where we, at this time, and you said this to me, is like, while everybody's talking about Black Lives Matter, we got to know that our lives matter to each other. And that starts with respect and admiration for who we are and the adversities that we go through. And I think that's why this conversation of colorism is such a real one. And like I said, before we get to the colorism and the racism, and we all know that sexism is the greatest ism that we've all encountered as humans, where women are often treated like second-class citizens. And I don't care what anybody, every man's guilty of it. And show me a man who's never operated within sexism, and you can't show me a man that's walked on this planet. So, okay, go ahead.
I agree with that, But I feel that, like I was telling you even yesterday, like, you know, in this time when we are holding white America accountable,
Indeed.
we're holding corporate America accountable for their violence against us in the corporate spaces, or we're holding police officers accountable, we have to hold our Black gatekeepers accountable.
Facts.
Because
sometimes the Black gatekeepers don't know they gatekeepers though.
No, y'all be knowing y'all gatekeepers.
Am I a gatekeeper?
No, y'all be knowing.
Am I a gatekeeper?
Of course you are. Of course you are.
I employ Black people though. I got some of the black people that work for me.
You're a gatekeeper you're a gatekeeper in a sense, like you said, you employ, you hire, you give opportunities to, you elevate.
But it took me a long time to understand that. I didn't know that at first, Jessie. I just thought I was just putting my friends on.
No, but as you should. But you know that you are a Black gatekeeper. Yeah. You know, right now in the
But I didn't know that. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know that at first.
And you know what? And I'll tell you this. Sometimes I'm naive because I don't see myself as a person who people should listen to. I just say what I say. I go to work. I post things, and then sometimes they go viral, and I'm like, "Why did this go viral?" It's like,
yeah, I got a question about something you just posted a little earlier, but we'll get to that. Continue.
So it's like, sometimes I do forget that I do have somewhat of an influence, but I feel like in this time, in this BLM time, where we're holding white America accountable, we're holding white corporations accountable, we have to hold Black media accountable.
100%.
We have to hold Black gatekeepers accountable. We have to hold our men, our Black men that 100%. We are marching for every 100%. Day in the street, who are out here saying Black Lives Matter, but when we're in the office, you are not showing me that my Black life matters.
And you check me on that, and I stand for. I stand corrected.
When we're on stage, you're not showing me that my dark skin life matters. I don't see myself being projected as.
Love that.
Still,
I love my dark skin life matters.
Of course.
So can I ask this in progression and trying to move forward? Because you use the interesting word quota. And quotas are real, especially in media, especially in corporate America. And tokenism is real. I try my hardest not to operate within tokenism, but I sat back and watch Wildin' Out, and it happens on both sides. It's funny that you say this about your dark skin life matters, but I got some Caucasian females like, why is there only one white? No, that's not. Why is there only one white girl as a Wildin' Out girl? And I've had these exact same conversations. Like, oh, she doesn't like me because I'm white. Oh, she doesn't like me because, or she's not my friend. And again, that's why I go back to making decisions as a committee, because there are now, even if there's only one spokesperson, there truly is about 5 or 6 people, and all women who say, who sit around, and even the job position that you're saying is a difficult job, because we've hired probably at least half a dozen different people to work with the Wildin' Out girls, and because that's a lot of energy going on managing 20 to 40 people during a season, and people get mad when they don't get episodes. People get mad when they don't get the opportunities to speak, and some people consider themselves celebrities. Some people consider themselves artists. And you have to manage that in a very careful way. So I agree with you 1,000% when it says what people have to be sensitive to the ideas of, even if they're not doing it in intentions, whether they're hanging out with you after work, whether they're clicking up, and it becomes like everyone should be respected and made to feel comfortable in that environment. And if that's not taking place, that has to change immediately. Of course. So in that, I was just telling my question to all of that is like, should there be a state, and even goes back to what we were just saying, should at work and even in media, should people be allowed to fraternize or even share personal likes or dislikes or preferences within the workplace? Should that even be allowed? Because then someone like yourself will feel excluded in a lot of that.
I think that preferences sometimes to me is a crock of shit. I'm gonna just be totally real with you.
Bro, you can't just say that. Preference is a crock of shit?
It is. And I'm gonna tell you
Please
why.
tell me why.
A lot of times preferences is basically used to envelope what you just don't want to be around.
And why do you think that?
Well, if I go back to how you said, some people are upset that they don't get speaking roles. I wasn't upset that I didn't get a speaking role. I was upset for the reasoning.
Because someone told you weren't exotic enough.
Of course. That reasoning also could be said to be a preference. Somebody could say, well, I mean, it is, it's wilding out. We looking for exotic bitches. You know what I'm saying? Like, so somebody could
why they gotta be
literally
bitches, Jessie? College educated women.
And right. But literally that's, I've had people make that comment to me since they've seen that. Like, so I've had girls tell me, and mind you, it's light-skinned girls coming in my comment.
So then it's not, it's light-skinned girls.
You're not exotic. You mad that you're not exotic?
But you are exotic.
But what I'm saying is that was the commentary that I've gotten. So even then, going back to what I'm saying, it's like, yeah, somebody could easily say, well, that's their preference. They looking for exotic. You know what I'm saying?
So you're saying preference is an excuse?
Of course, I feel like preferences a lot of times is a way to basically have an excuse for not having certain people allowed at the table.
Oh, okay.
When you know that person is qualified,
100%.
when you know that person has everything that is needed to do this job correctly and well and exceed, but because you just don't want that.
And that's it. That's where I feel like I was going when we were talking about quotas. Because quotas are a real thing. There is, when trying to do however many Wild 'N Out girls per episode, and this is just speaking directly, but I know in other things that I cast, like if the role calls for a 6-year-old redhead little boy,
of course.
A tall 7-foot Asian man can't do that, so because it's typecasting, it's casting a type. But when having those we try to be equal opportunists. So when you're there's a bulletin board, and it's everything from her the young lady's height, her followers, her ability, like if she sings, if she's funny, if she laughs, and you put those 10 together and like, okay, we do got to make sure that we have, the Caucasian community is represented.
Listen,
we do have we got to have the Asian, we got to have the dark skins. So that's a real thing when you put those 10 girls together.
I'm gonna be totally honest with you, and I might catch flack for this, but I don't care what the little white girls is telling you about being represented on the show, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because
talk your talk. Come on, now we get to the real shit.
No, because they get represented everywhere. So let's not even act like.
That is 100%. But let's talk. But white people are the minority on Wild 'N Out.
I'm just saying. Let's be real. Wild 'N Out.
I did that on purpose.
Show.
Nah.
Wild 'N Out is a black family show.
100%.
And even in the midst of that, I have seen a plethora of Karens, and I've seen a plethora.
I don't know.
Not Karens.
Plethora.
I've seen a plethora.
They sprinkled.
No, but I'm just like, I've seen.
But you're right.
Yeah, I'm making light of it, but I've seen white representation, and it should be there. But when we're talking about if we just keep it as Wild 'N Out girl, for instance.
Yeah, we just having
a Wild 'N Out girl on the show. What your platform is doing with the Wild 'N Out girls, you are feeding us what beauty is.
That's a big responsibility. Don't put that on me. Kim Kardashian is feeding us what beauty is. Kylie Jenner, I ain't got nothing to do with this.
Yes, you do. Your platform, the Wild 'N Out girls, are a symbolism of what beauty is.
Right, and beauty is a $2 trillion industry that's enforced and infused by Europeans.
Feeding what beauty is, and so
you put so much pressure on me. I don't want that job.
But you have.
I don't want
it.
it.
You have the job, and I'm gonna tell you this.
I don't want to be that gatekeeper. I'm gonna be honest.
No, wait, hold on. So on top of that, you're definitely showing, hey, this is what we think beauty is, and kids, grown-ups, teenagers, so many different people are watching that.
That's a heavy job. I don't.
But it's a good job to have, especially for someone like you.
Okay.
Someone like
so if this is my job, and we get into solutions, and we talk, because this still is the conversation about quota. How many young ladies of your complexion or darker or in your circle should be represented on that stage every episode?
Well, that's your assignment.
Clearly, I've been getting this shit wrong. So
I know, but you know why? And I'm gonna tell you why you're getting this shit wrong. Because you're not intentional. You have good intentions.
Structural issues within our community, and you're 100% right.
The actions are not matching the intention. If you are, I believe with every fiber of my being that although this was told to me by this woman believes that that's what you want. So you, as the gatekeeper, it starts from the head. It starts from the head.
So that's why I ask you. You're right. You're 100%. I take full responsibility. And that's why we're having the conversation. So again, as a woman who felt disrespected, who felt discriminated against, if there is a solution in making sure that you are represented properly and the next Jessie Woo walks across that stage or walks into the room, what does she need to see? What can we do to say this? Now instead of 3 chocolate girls, it's 8 chocolate girls. Or like I don't like, again, because even a lot of times when we go to comedians and I would say like Blair Christensen, a chocolate girl, hilarious from Chicago, just hilarious. Natasha,
right? And that's where
we've had so many. Because we make sure at least every single episode there is a strong black queen voicing who she is. And now if we get into complexion, some of it, now that's where you're. She might not always be chocolate. We see.
And
what you doing next season?
I'm available.
You're hired. I mean, I got to talk to my committee, but
don't play.
You hired.
Listen, don't play, because I will be down to the water now.
Say less. And we're joking and everything now, but as closed door conversation, Jessie knows that I have nothing but respect and admiration for her gifts and talents. Is super talented beyond belief, singer, comedian, and I had this conversation even before this whole thing went down. Is like, we need her on this show because we need not only your voice, but we need your talent.
I asked you to, like I said,
you was in my DMs going hard.
I was like, excuse me, hello, audition again.
And I said, what did I say? I say, I see you grinding. You got my attention. I'm paying attention.
You did. So
and now you really got my attention.
And prayerfully, I do get the opportunity, but even if it's
because right now, because we're talking individualism and then we're talking structural systemic. Right. Let's talk about how we fix the structure.
Right. I feel like, for instance, now I don't know what the setup is now, but for instance, when I was doing it, there were 16 episodes, I believe.
Yeah, we got more than that now. We balling now. We doing like 30.
Okay.
We balling.
So I know y'all on what, 3 networks now?
Yeah, we get to the bag now.
But it was like 16 episodes and I made 4. But literally in 2 of those episodes, I was about to have a speaking role. They were taken away from me. Now, also, really, you only catch a glimpse of me in 2 of those episodes that I made out of the 4. So it's
and
just
that even goes all the way down to editing, which is a whole nother thing. Like the editor is choosing who's beautiful to the editor, and that might be some white dude in a room by himself making that decision.
But someone
or
has
any
to be
color,
making that clear to the editor.
You're 100% right.
This is to be represented.
Wow.
And the person over the editor. We need more of this.
You're right.
Like, it takes intention. I don't know, what the structure is, but I know it starts at the head.
You're right.
And if you were to go into the next season and say, listen, we have this amount of episodes. This is the cast members.
Right.
You look at how many people of all genres that you have and making sure that you are intentional about giving them equal time.
You're right.
Equal chances to be seen, equal chances to be heard. Because here's the thing, even as the Wild 'N Out girls are concerned, how many of them that do get speaking roles are chocolate? That's a message.
I'm not gonna negate anything you're saying because you're all valid and I agree with you. But then, Amber Diamond is somebody I'm truly proud of because I watched her do exactly your exact journey. Who she wanted to be so much more. She auditioned, tried, she failed a bunch of times of being on the cast, and she kept working at it, and she kept saying, "I want to be on the cast," and now she's on the cast, and
that's why I mentioned her because I know Amber's journey. Amber went on to have her own show on MTV. When she was shooting,
that I was a producer of, that I made sure happened, but I'm just toot my own horn.
So I feel like I'm not about to sit here and act like there haven't been times that you did it right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna get it wrong a bunch of times. But we gotta write the structure. That's what we're talking about.
The structure has to be taken care of. And the thing is too is that, I think that colorism is something that we all kind of display, even if we don't believe we do.
Facts.
We all have a little bit of colorism in us. It's
a thing that actually they call in that book that I talked about. And I don't know if you ever read it, but it's a powerful book. It's called The Color Complex. I held the mirror up to myself in so many different ways.
Of course.
But it talks about, it's called color struck. That we get color struck by lighter individuals, and that goes all the way back to the enslavement division, the people who had European and white blood within them that thought they were better than the darker complected people, and it's still in us to this day. We use terms like good hair. We use pretty eyes. We use these terms, and I can definitely.
And pretty eyes usually is with somebody who has light eyes, or they're wearing
look like some contacts. White people eyes.
It's true. So,
but I'm also, let's call it what it is. I'm also talking right now to a queen who has very European-like hair. And I've seen what is it, the essence shampoo, what is it called, the Creole essence? I seen what you got. I seen the fro. I seen the beautiful what you naturally are. That's what I'm saying, and it's gorgeous. Why if we're dealing with colorism, why? But you show it, but why you ain't got it now? Why you not wearing it now?
But here's the thing, it's like, why do y'all act like
if I had some white man hair right now, hey Jessie, and I had a bang and flipped up, you'd be like, what's wrong with this nigga?
Why do y'all act like there are not black girls who have hair like this? When I straighten my hair,
yeah, but it don't naturally grow like that, Jessie. Come on,
it don't
now.
Naturally grow
We
like
try
that,
to be European. They have defined what beauty is to us.
There are girls who have hair like this.
But you ain't one of them.
But I have a beautiful fro. Yes, I'm not one
and
of
it's
them,
gorgeous.
I've shown my fro.
And
I've shown my fro left and right.
But,
if you wanted me to come through with a
so
fro,
if you're going to be wilding out, you got to wear an afro the whole time.
If you want me to take this wig off, I could do that. I ain't got no problem showing the people my fro, baby. I got plenty of hair. Okay?
I know you do. But that would be my question, because I've seen your long, real hair. Why put a European wig on?
But for the first reason why I said y'all be acting like black girls don't have hair like this. Okay, but also,
who doesn't like to?
But who doesn't like to switch up their style? Like, that's what girls do.
Sounds like preference to me.
I said switch up. Switch up. So sometimes you might catch me with my fro. Sometimes you might catch me with my wig. Sometimes you might catch me with my box braids. Sometimes you might catch me down to the Walmart cashier with my bonnet.
You see, I got my grandmama bonnet on. I stay in it.
Okay, it's whatever. Right. I feel like doing that day. I feel like I think me personally, I'm past the discussion of, well, this is what the white people did to us. We know they did it.
We do know they did it.
They continue
to do it. So you say take care of our own, focus on our own, build ourselves up within our culture.
Of course.
And then we will be able to defeat the systemic issues that are beyond us.
When we're specifically talking about black media, and not just Wild 'N Out, just black platforms in general, like it is our duty to be real, to be
you're right,
to be transparent and to be intentional about, listen, we need to make sure that everybody, all black people, all black beauty is shown to be to matter. All Black people. When someone tells me,
man, that was always my intention though. That's the crazy thing,
yeah,
and you have my word. Like I mean, working on myself. You have my word. I will attempt to do better. I will do better in this space. I will pay more attention to it. I'm gonna be honest. Because it's a shaky world that I actually like. I don't want no parts of that. Yeah. I employ and empower people. So I don't have to be a part of those conversations. Right. I was like, this is who I like. This is who I like. I need a favor for this person. Y'all figure it out. We doing 3 episodes tomorrow. Just make sure everybody leave happy. And that is a difficult job. And it's funny too, because there's even intentions like I set out to do a few episodes. I do some Caribbean episodes, and even specifically I did one where I called it, Embracing the Motherland. And we had DeVito on there, and we was joking. We said some of us was dressed up like Coming to America. Some of us was dressed up like the Zulu tribe. We were and we got a lot of almost like backlash from us because they thought we were making fun of African culture, which we were. We make fun of everyone. Right. So we're not going to shy away from
comedic.
Yeah, we going to do African accents or Jamaican accents or Haitian accents because we do white people. We make fun of everybody. But in that mindset and what you said where it's a young girl watching this or a young boy watching this and they don't feel appreciated or they don't feel represented, I got to do better in that space. Because even in that episode when the Motherland episode, we had all chocolate wilding out girls, and then it was like, oh, for the African episode, now you want to have all Black girls, like. Yeah.
Well, I had one of the Wild 'N Out girls from that episode reach out to me, and tell me her experience.
I think I know you're talking about, and I heard about this experience, and again, completely different. Like she felt like during that episode, and amazing queen, West African.
She's gorgeous. She's
beautiful. But even beyond that, talented. We allowed her to show us some dance moves so from the diaspora and get us popping. And I thought it was a great episode. And then I hear days later that she left crying. I don't know if it was from that episode, but just even, because, we shoot several episodes during that time. And I'm like, why? She was my favorite. Like, her stats, she stood out. She was probably one of the most unique Wild 'N Out girls we have. And in that, I believe in even that same episode, we had an albino Wild 'N Out girl. We had Wild 'N Out girls with vitiligo. We have, so to me, I'll be like, yo, let's give everybody an opportunity to shine. And then when it goes wrong, I'm like, man, I
but
can't
the thing
win
is,
for
like,
losing.
what is
being perpetuated? Yeah.
What is being said to them?
How are they made to feel? How are they excluded?
Right. And the thing is too, I feel like,
that's
and this is not just something that I've experienced, because I've experienced.
Can I personally fix that? Can I step is there a speech I should give? Is there something I should say? Because we pray before every episode that we shoot. I bring everybody together in a circle because I believe great energy is created in circles, regardless of your spirituality or your belief. I bring everybody together. I thank everybody for their talents, their gifts. Every episode. Is that a moment maybe where I should say, I don't care what color you are, what you look like? Like, is there something there that can make people feel appreciated?
I think just based off of what I know, and this just goes back to what I was saying in the beginning, you do have individuals who are there who are intentionally mistreating darker girls. It's just a fact.
We can't have that.
It's just a fact.
Can't happen.
But it's a fact. And so something has to be said to that person. Something has to be said not only to that person, but just people in general who are working with you.
Right.
Listen,
100%.
we value.
I tell you, people who work for me all the time, you got to represent my spirit, and my spirit is one that wants to be nothing but positive, nothing but a light. So if there's any negativity, you gotta leave that at home. But to say this, and even again, I always say it's about committee, but even beyond that, that specific role that you're speaking of, again, it has been rotated, is moved around, and it's a hard role because they have to deal with a lot of personalities. They have to deal with everyone's feelings in a very deliberate and respectful manner. But
when you're saying certain things,
right, again,
you're not exotic, or
Yeah, that can't be said.
you don't got the look, or
You don't got.
You're excluding them from everybody else who does have the look. You're purposely not speaking to them the way you speak to the rest of the girls.
Let's talk.
It's like,
again, because we could talk about this for hours. This is a
here's
great
the thing.
conversation.
There's something called misogynoir.
Okay, break it down.
There is such a thing as misogyny that lives within women. Okay, there are misogynistic women.
Wow.
There are women who display misogynoir, where they are misogynistic on top of being colorists. And a lot of times, which is the truth, a lot of times the person who falls on that side of colorism is a dark-skinned girl. It's just a fact.
What you're saying, like, a lot of times we dislike our reflection.
I mean, yes, of course.
Ooh, that's
I'm
heavy.
gonna tell you.
That's heavy. That's some heavy stuff. That's some learn to love yourself type of stuff.
Of course, I'm gonna tell you something about me. I didn't know I was ugly until I went to middle school. Okay,
you're not ugly.
But I'm saying something to you.
You're the opposite.
My mother. I have a gorgeous mother. My mother is gorgeous. My mom would always tell me I was beautiful. So I'm like, shoot, she pretty. She telling me I'm pretty. I'm pretty as hell.
But you can't tell me you weren't a little girl. People will tell, oh, you're so pretty.
Not when I got to middle school.
Okay.
When I got to middle school, and you start hearing the blackest tar or the monkey or the roach comments. You know what I mean? So you start to internalize that. And there was a moment where I would go home and I would like, Mom, you tell me I'm pretty, but when I go to school, I'm not. You tell me I'm pretty, but when I go to school, I'm not. And then you grow up and you internalize that. And then it gets to a point where I would shoot it out too. I've called people black roaches. I've called people monkeys. I've done it because it was done to me. And so,
stuff.
Of course. And so, but up until a couple years ago, I remember doing it on a public platform and in a jokingly manner. And I got the dragging of my life, but rightfully so, because I had to come to terms with, you know what? I've always been hurt by colorism, but here I am being a colorist.
Yeah.
And I say that to say that a lot of times this person I've spoken of that works with you, and even other Black women in Black media, they've been the victims of colorism and they pass it on.
That's heavy.
They probably don't even realize it, but they pass it on.
That's so
and
heavy.
They tell girls like me, we're not exotic. We don't have the look. I have the look. I'm just dark.
But see, okay. You just laid so much on me real quick and
because it's the truth.
No, can I ask a few questions and just briefly respond? Oh man, okay, because you just said some of the realest stuff I've ever heard a Black woman say, but I'm only asking this question when we talk about our definition of beauty, when going back to that, and you said that you didn't know that you were ugly until you got to junior high school. In that, I mean, like, put it out there. You know that you're gorgeous, right? You do know that. Like
I'm gonna be totally honest, and I'm not telling you this.
I just want to know what you really believe about yourself right now.
Listen, I truly found my beauty a couple years ago.
And we're talking talking superficial right now. We're not talking anything other than just exterior.
I'm talking about my beauty.
See, but we're not gonna do that because that's not the question. I agree with you, but let's go. If we being superficial, we doing exterior conversations just for the moment. Of course, you're beautiful. Black is beautiful. We know all of those slogans and sayings. But I'm talking about your exterior, your eye-catching, striking presence. When you walk in a room, you are gorgeous. You know that, right? You know that, right?
I know that I have a presence, and I'm just being honest with you. I know I have a presence.
Striking.
I know
you are
that
attractive. That's what attraction. No, before you say one word, when Jessie Woo walks into the room, heads
I
turn
know. No.
because you
No,
are
listen,
gorgeous.
And listen,
Superficially. Now, when one gets to know you, they find out that you are also beautiful. But if we are talking, the term is physical attraction. That's the only thing we're speaking of right now. The people in junior high school, when they saw you, they were talking exterior, superficial things that they were brainwashed with. But to know to your not like your mother, like, and that's the thing, because I have this issue. I don't like to tell my daughter she's pretty because I want to tell her she's more than just pretty. She's more than just her exterior. She's more than just superficiality. But I know that my daughter will grow up to be gorgeous. So in that sense of being striking, one, if you don't know it, you are, and you should tell yourself that when you look into the mirror every single day. But beyond that, in the situations that you have to deal with these rooms amongst other gorgeous women, how do you feel? Is there an insecurity there based off going all the way back to when someone told you that you were ugly in junior high?
I would say, I have to be honest, of course. I've always been someone who relied on what comes out of me, not what people see. I've always relied on how I speak, what I say, my personality, my singing. Like, that's always what I've relied on. I've never been someone who's like, oh, when I walk in here, they gon', like, I've never been like that. Right. So I don't see myself as when I walk into a room,
you have so much more than just your exterior, though. You are more than just a pretty face because you have substance, you have gifts, you have talent.
And that's what I rely on.
That shouldn't negate any of those. You can operate and check all of those boxes.
In both. No, I agree. I'm just saying, when you ask me that question, I can honestly say that's not how I feel when I walk into a room. Now, someone else might see me and say, oh, she's pretty, but that's not how I see myself walking into a room.
Or you get that awful term, pretty for a black girl.
I've gotten that.
I hate that term.
Even in this climate, you still get that. Now, granted, you might not get it as much from black people.
Or pretty for a dark-skinned girl.
Yeah. Well, now, you do get it from others. You know what I'm saying? Like,
can I touch your skin?
Oh, God.
So
soft. Oh, my God. Lord, God,
how's your skin so smooth? I wish I had your skin.
I'm telling you.
I bet you can go out in the sun whenever you want.
They want to touch my skin. They want to pet my afro. It's a lot. It's a lot.
I don't understand, but man. I have empathy.
I definitely rely more on personality. And I will say, as far as just realizing that I am beautiful, that is something that I came into realization. I started to realize and internalize a couple years ago. And
but again, beauty is different from exterior and physical attraction.
Of course.
But you have both, luckily.
Prayerfully,
you were blessed to be able to have both.
Prayerfully, I do.
Because there are a lot of people who deal with insecurities, even like yourself. There's even pretty. Yeah. I always say pretty girls are the most insecure beings we know because they.
You know what? I don't feel that.
Man, that's why I don't tell my daughter she's pretty, because I always say pretty girl problems is some real shit because they're so used to be told that they're pretty all their life that it's superficiality.
I wasn't told I was pretty all my life.
And maybe that's why you the hustler and the strong, resilient person that you are.
And even right now, even with having a platform, you know how many times I've logged on into the internet and I see people making fun of the way I look, making fun of my big cheekbones, making fun of my eyes.
They just hate you because they ain't you. That's all that is.
But the thing is, we can say that, but sometimes I have caught myself internalizing that. And I have to be careful about just being intentional about not seeing that stuff and not paying attention to it, because I know I'm a beautiful girl. Facts. But then sometimes you might log online and you see people saying certain things and like, well, damn, am I? You know what I mean? Like, it just, it is a little bit of an insecurity, but I do feel that I am overall very secure with who I am and very secure with how I look, very secure with the knowledge that I have of the world, with my education. Like, I am very secure in who I am.
Right. Well, you know what? I love to hear that. I love all that you have become, all that you are becoming, and you have my word that I will work on not only myself, but I will work on the structure and the institution in which we present as Wild 'N Out to make sure that our dark skinned queens are represented and feel respected in a major way. And ladies and gentlemen, you will be seeing Jessie Woo on the next season of Wild 'N Out. If I got any damn thing to do, she is hired. You heard? I gotta go talk to some white people about it, but after I tell them, you will be getting a call as a cast member, so people can see you sing, see how funny you are, and I'm gonna say that you even beyond Wild 'N Out, God has a calling on your life that you will be able to share not only your gifts but your story and your journey in a major way, because as you know how much love I got for Haitian people and
I love where I come from.
Yeah,
I love where I come from.
And Haitian people are some of the most resilient, strongest people. That shouts out to the Haitian Revolution showing us how to really do it. That's the real Independence Day. If you want to celebrate an Independence Day, celebrate the Haitian Independence Day.
January 1st, honey. Celebrate Haitian independence. Get you a plot of Jumu soup.
Real talk. And if you don't know about the Haitian Revolution, read up on it. That's when we was really free. But to say all of that, I want to congratulate you, not only just working with us and speaking your truth and living your truth and being unapologetic about it and speaking up about it and holding people accountable, those gatekeepers that you speak about. And if I am a gatekeeper, you have my word that I would definitely try to do better in this space, and we need to have more of these conversations. But again, we gonna continue to see you. We gonna continue to see your journey. I can't wait to see you next season on Wild 'N Out.
Me too.
And you better represent, because we can't be having no Azealia Banks type episodes now.
No,
we gonna make sure we about to get into the workouts to make sure you shine and you got jokes for DC Young Fly and all of them, because he will say now we know what happened in junior high school, but DC Young Fly will come and say with your ugly ass. He don't really mean with your that's the only words he know. He don't know no other words besides ugly ass.
and I will say this. I said this to Nick yesterday. This was 4 years ago, but literally, people that I met from Wild 'N Out helped me birth my platform. My
Shouts out to Jordan Crafton, Big Baby, Darren Brand, Carlos Miller. Yeah.
Yes, Carlos. Like literally, I met some of the most amazing people, and literally my experience at Wild 'N Out just motivated me to say, you know what, I'm going to make a name for myself. I'm going to figure this out. And this honestly is a full circle moment for me. I'm very emotional about this because I would never have thought that 4 years later we would be having this conversation. But I thank God for it.
Hey,
and
the torch is in your hands. Take it and run with it. You ain't got to thank me. Thank the Most High. I just want to see you shine.
And I thank you. And I do want to thank you, because this is how you handle this. You have a real conversation and you say, you know what, this is what we're going to do to make some changes. So I commend you. I know you love queening us, but you're a Black king yourself.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being transparent and open enough to have this conversation.
No doubt. And like I said, we still ain't get to talk about that post you just put up about Terry Crews.
Oh, no!
Well, we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that on the set. We definitely going to have Jessie Woo back on Nick Cannon Radio. I love the fact that we can have a real queen speaking her truth and living her truth and shining amongst us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nothing but love. Keep shining. I'll see you next season.
See you next season, Nick.
Real talk.